Today, Donald Trump is generously handing out campaign promises. Many believe he will tackle illegal immigration, making it a cornerstone of his campaign with sharp phrases like, "Migrants poison the blood of the American nation." He promises to bring manufacturing back to America, filling the country with factories and plants as it was in the past. He claims he will easily put bully Putin in his place, tame the Chinese dragon, and move the doomsday clock away from midnight, preventing the world from being engulfed in the furious flames of nuclear explosions. He keeps drilling into the minds and hearts of Americans the refrain, "America will be great again." Donald Trump, an old political fox, skillfully plays on human fears and weaknesses, knowing that a politician's promise to make their country great warms the soul of every American voter. Let's talk today about his two promises related to foreign policy, which, according to some of his supporters, he will easily fulfill. At least that's what Trump himself claims. The problem is that Trump likely refuses to accept that dictators think differently. For Trump, who bulldozes everything in his path to the pinnacle of success, ambition realization included appearing in a famous scene in the film Home Alone 2. Vanity, of course, but in an American way. The person he intends to negotiate with came into this world for something else. He came to gather lands, instill reverential fear in his subjects, and poorly concealed fear in those he considers enemies. He came to remain in history textbooks, specifically in the section Great Rulers. Trump thinks like a businessman who has achieved everything the American dream can offer, but still a businessman. Perhaps Putin, after watching or more likely reading a report on the Biden-Trump debates, became more convinced that Democratic leaders are weaklings compared to him. After all, a real ruler like Putin should not entertain the public with antics. Here he is, Putin, a czar, not a Christmas clown. Trump, as a businessman, believes that if he offers to lift sanctions, provide economic preferences, and the most advantageous trade conditions, then surely anyone will agree. But this doesn't work with dictators. They are not dependent on the opinion of their citizens. They do not have to report economic failures to voters. A vivid example that Trump doesn't understand his opponents, the dictators, are made of different stuff, is the negotiations with Kim Jong-un. Trump, who before the negotiations was convinced he, as a connoisseur of human souls, was bringing such an attractive package of offers that even the manically distrustful North Korean leader would not be able to refuse such generosity and benefit. In Hanoi, Donald was met with a cold shower. He realized that Kim was not ready to sacrifice his nuclear program for what could eventually lift his country out of the economic pit. North Korea, where the elite have everything they could wish for, and where 600,000 of its citizens died of hunger in the 90s because all resources and funds of this poor country were directed towards fulfilling the rearmament program of the army, needs nothing from him. A dictator knows that if a worthy opponent from democracies appears, he can simply outlast him. The American president, adhering to the Constitution, will leave, and with the next one, they might strike a deal. Moreover, an autocrat uses all the resources of his state as his own. Everything belongs to him. But history is full of examples where democracies have tamed many unruly authoritarian regimes. Trump, partly of course, is a showman, and we hope that his best show will be fulfilling his promises. If, of course, the 45th President of the USA moves back into the White House. Unless Michelle Obama, a Democrat candidate who appears quite capable of competing with Donald, enters the race. She, as some statements suggest, possesses a steel character and a sort of protective motherly instinct. The main thing is that Trump's perception of the nature of challenges to America doesn't remain as it was 6 years ago. Meanwhile, the phenomena and people he intends to oppose have become more complex, tougher, smarter, and more uncompromising. For a dictator, a strong leader from the Western world is somewhat akin to a street gangster, daring and playful yet still quite cowardly, facing an unyielding nightclub bouncer. The bouncer can be perceptive, brave, and not swayed by the gangster's loud bravado, and today the gangster might not be allowed into the club. But the small-time gangster might say to him, You'll leave this job eventually, and if not, I can help with that. But I will always be on this street, and when you're gone, I'll walk in here with my girl without a problem." The gangster is confident that the next bouncer won't be as strict and incorruptible.